Hello, everyone. This is Darian here. I apologize for not posting a couple days back. I lost my voice this week, so I will try my best to be able to speak during this. I am going to be touring you around the National Gallery of Washington. I just wanted to show you a couple pictures to get started. I can see they have like a dome style and a Greco-Roman styled front, very classic. But if you look down on the bottom right, you can see that they've added more of a modern and contemporary spin on their additions. If you can see here on the bottom left, you can see the glass kind of is like a contemporary spin off of the glass at the Louvre. So I thought that was cool. They have some nice architecture inside and some greenery. You can see they've got a little bit of fun main lobby area. Very classic style though. Moving on, I wanted to start first with the history. They had a nice timeline here in the archive section. I just thought after everything we've been learning the past month that this was an important part to show because we want to know who's making the museum, who's making the decisions, and what decisions they are making from a very external point of view instead of getting into the details. Because once we look at the full website, there's a lot of things going on. So we'll start with the timeline. The museum was started in 1928 by Andrew Mellon. You can see they've just been getting the project off the ground here. This was the first small amount of the collection. And I thought this was interesting that this is all how it started. It has a huge Christian presence. All the artworks look religious. And it looks like it's very early Renaissance, maybe a bit of Byzantine sprinkled in here with the gold everywhere. But that's how it started. This seems to be the opening. Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke at it. It looked like a very exclusive event where people were really dressed up. It didn't look like it was open to general public. If you look at the building itself, it is not so grand, but it is beautiful, fancy, classic. So I can see this having a kind of a high-class vibe to it, not really a casual walk-in to see some art kind of vibe. Now, I wanted to point out this display in the 1940s because one of my criticisms on this museum is that they could use a little update. If you look here, you can see that the galleries actually pretty much look the same still in comparison to 1946, which I feel there could be some updating. It is 2023. Things are a bit different now. If you can see what the people are wearing as they view the gallery, and this is in the 50s, you feel like it's got a high-class vibe to it. A lot of older people there, and they're really dressed up. I also liked this picture because it shows the youth and they are dressed casually. So maybe it became a little more open to the public, really. And it looks like they're advertising the latest technology of radio guide systems, which I thought was really funny. But a big deal at the time. In the 1960s, they had a little visit from Mona Lisa. It still looks like most of the events are quite fancy there. Look how they're dressed with these long gloves. I'll skip through a bit. In the 70s, so I thought this was important because I did not find many other cultures represented as I looked through the full collection of images. I know the 70s had a big inspiration of prints and designs from different cultures and a bit of a folk art and fashion movement. This photo seems kind of staged in that light, but I did not see much Asian art representation in the galleries at all, so I was intrigued by it being important in this moment in time and what maybe changed that from continuing later. I found the Alexander Calder mobile here really exciting. I'll try to find a picture for you guys later in our tour about the full picture of this room because it looked more fun. Things popped out. It's colorful. It gives like a young and innocent vibe. I feel like young kids would really have fun in this room, and I feel like it's a stark contrast to most of the classical rooms. And then they have a lot of Rothko paintings here, big Impressionist wing. They have a lot of modern art and classical arts here. I also noticed a large amount of Dutch and French artworks here. I will also say that there is not much representation for contemporary art at all in this museum. So I loved seeing that they had Andy Goldsworthy outside. It's really big. I could picture people enjoying walking around this and engaging with it. Andy Goldsworthy is still such a relevant artist that I liked to see that since there's not much contemporary art at this museum. Now, to further that point, when I searched through the collections, there was only one artwork labeled as new media, and that is this installation. It's very interactive. It looks very big. I saw some videos of it. You kind of move through it. And then I really felt like for my teenagers, this would be their favorite part of the whole museum. It would be where they would come most alive. And let's face it, teenagers, the only way you know if they like something is if they have pulled out their phones to record themselves in it or photograph it or put it in their story. And I could really picture them pulling out their phones here and having a good time. There's a little more introduction to contemporary art, although it doesn't look that contemporary on the grand scheme of things. It's still flat paintings. They have a sculpture garden, which I'll show you. This was a bit of a controversy for me, and I found it to be an issue that it took from all the way up to 2020 for them to actually make a Native American art collection in this museum. This is Washington, D.C. This is the capital of the USA, which was started by Native Americans, and it took them that long to even represent them in the gallery. So I just want you to see what kind of people are running this museum so far. And I don't mean to be too critical, but I felt that vibe quite a bit in this gallery, and I just wanted to mention it. It seems like they were affected by COVID and gave themselves a bit of a new look after that. And they introduced this app that actually seemed really cool called Artle. And that was just last year. They show you paintings and you guess who the artists were in the time